Well, this isn't a bank vault. That's because you, as a salary, initially come to life in the HR department of a mid-sized marketing company in Denver, Colorado, while you're still inside a spreadsheet calculation that determines someone's entire financial future. Even at this embryonic stage, the work has already begun. You, as a salary, are being carefully constructed. $45,000 annually divided by 26 pay periods, minus federal taxes, state taxes, Social Security, Medicare health insurance premiums, and 401k contributions. When you, as a salary, achieve your first digital form in the payroll system, with all deductions calculated, you are born into the direct deposit account of a 28-year-old marketing coordinator named Sarah in Denver. She's been waiting for this moment, her first real job after 3 years of gig work, freelancing, and part-time positions that never offered benefits. Along with your net amount of $1,412 every 2 weeks, you, as a salary, represent something more than money. You represent stability, health insurance, paid time off, and the psychological comfort of knowing exactly when you'll arrive. Sarah checks her bank account at 12:01 a.m. on payday with the excitement of someone who's finally made it to the middle class. You, as a salary, are about to learn that financial security is more complicated than consistent deposits. Your first mission as a salary, creating the illusion of financial stability. Sarah opens her laptop and creates her first real budget spreadsheet. Rent, $850. Car payment, $312. Student loans, $423. Groceries, $300. Utilities, $150. Phone, $85. Gas, $120. You, as a salary, watch Sarah is face as she realizes that your $2,400 after taxes barely covers these basic expenses, leaving her with exactly $257 for everything else: clothing, entertainment, savings, emergencies, and what economists politely call discretionary spending. But Sarah is optimistic. She's finally earning a professional salary, which feels like progress even though you, as a salary, provide less purchasing power than minimum wage did for her parents' generation. In 1970, minimum wage could support a family of 3 above the poverty line. Today, you, as a $45,000 salary, barely support 1 person above the poverty line in most American cities. You, as a salary, come with something Sarah's previous gig work never offered: health insurance. The premium is $187 per month, which Sarah gladly pays because it means she can finally see a doctor without facing bankruptcy. What she doesn't realize yet is that her insurance has a $3,000 deductible, meaning she'll need to spend $3,000 out of pocket before insurance covers anything meaningful. You, as a salary, also include 3 weeks of paid time off annually, which sounds generous until Sarah realizes she can't afford to go anywhere during those 3 weeks. Taking time off without spending money is a skill they don't teach in college. Here's where you, as a salary, encounter your first major challenge: lifestyle inflation. Within 2 months, Sarah's spending has expanded to match your entire amount. New apartment with higher rent because I can afford it now. Eating out more often because I'm a professional. Shopping for work clothes because I need to look the part. You, as a salary, realize you're not increasing Sarah's wealth, you're increasing her standard of living, which economists know are completely different things. Sarah feels richer while actually becoming more financially vulnerable than when she earned less but spent less. Sarah dutifully saves $50 per month for an emergency fund, which makes her feel financially responsible. You, as a salary, watch as this fund grows to $300 over 6 months, then gets completely wiped out when her car needs $800 in repairs. She puts the remaining $500 on a credit card, creating debt that will take months to pay off. You, as a salary, learn that for most Americans, an emergency fund isn't savings. It's just delaying debt. The median emergency fund in America is $400, while the median unexpected expense is $1,300. The mathematics ensure that most emergency funds are emergency delays. Plot twist. Sarah discovers that James, who was hired 6 months after her for the same position, earns $52,000 annually. You, as a salary, suddenly feel inadequate, even though you haven't changed. Sarah learns about something called the wage gap, not just between genders, but between negotiation skills, timing, and pure luck. You, as a salary, realize you're not just a number. You're the result of biased market conditions, negotiation power, and often arbitrary decisions made by people who didn't understand the difference between $45,000 and $52,000 when you're living paycheck to paycheck. 6 months into the job, Sarah starts a freelance social media consulting business on weekends and evenings. Not because she's entrepreneurial, but because you as a salary aren't enough. She needs an additional $400 to $600 per month to build actual savings, pay down student loans faster, or have any discretionary income. You, as a salary, watch Sarah work 60-hour weeks, 40 for you, 20 for her side business, just to achieve the financial stability that one job provided for previous generations. You're witnessing the gigification of salaried work, having a good job that still requires additional income streams. 12 months into your existence as Sarah's salary, her landlord increases rent by $150 per month. This single change eliminates Sarah's entire discretionary income and forces her to choose between continuing to save money or continuing to eat food that isn't rice and beans. You, as a salary, haven't changed, but your purchasing power just decreased by 7% overnight. Sarah can't negotiate with her landlord the way she might negotiate a salary increase. Housing costs are largely outside individual control, yet they can eliminate years of careful budgeting in a single lease renewal. Sarah gets promoted to senior marketing coordinator, which comes with new responsibilities, longer hours, and a salary increase to $51,000 annually. You, as a salary, evolve, growing by $6,000 gross, which translates to approximately $300 more per month after taxes. But the promotion also means Sarah no longer qualifies for her state's subsidized health insurance program. Her new health insurance premium jumps to $247 per month, essentially eliminating the financial benefit of her promotion. You, as a salary, learn that in America, earning more money can sometimes result in lower net worth due to benefits cliffs and tax bracket changes. Sarah's student loan payments are $423 per month for the next 18 years. You, as a salary, will dedicate approximately 25% of your after-tax value to paying for education she received 6 years ago. The total she'll pay over the life of the loan: $91,000 for education that originally cost $62,000. You, as a salary, realize you're not just supporting Sarah's current life. You're paying for past decisions while trying to build a future. Student loans represent the commodification of social mobility, turning education from a public good into individual debt. 2 years into your existence as Sarah's salary, she develops a chronic condition requiring monthly medication costing $234. Even with insurance, her out-of-pocket costs consume an additional 10% of your monthly value. Sarah faces a choice Americans shouldn't have to make: financial stability or physical health. You, as a salary, discover that healthcare costs are the leading cause of bankruptcy among middle-class Americans with insurance. Having a job with benefits doesn't guarantee protection from medical financial devastation. Sarah dutifully contributes 4% of your value to her 401k, which the company matches. This feels responsible until you, as a salary, realize the mathematics. At current contribution rates, Sarah will need to work until age 73 to maintain her current standard of living in retirement. Previous generations had pensions that guaranteed retirement income. Sarah's generation has retirement accounts that guarantee nothing except fees for financial management companies. You, as a salary, are supporting a retirement system designed to enrich Wall Street more than workers. Throughout your existence as Sarah's salary, You thought the problem was Sarah's spending habits or lack of financial discipline. But the real assassin is wage stagnation combined with cost inflation for essential services. Housing, healthcare, and education costs have increased far faster than wages like you. You, as a salary, are worth less in purchasing power than equivalent salaries were 30 years ago, despite requiring higher education, more skills, and longer working hours. The system isn't broken. It's extracting maximum value from workers while providing minimum compensation. 3 years into your existence as Sarah's salary, she mentors a recent college graduate starting at $42,000 annually, less than Sarah started with, despite having more education and experience. You, as a salary, realize you're part of a trend. Each generation earning less relative to cost of living than the previous generation. Sarah, as a mentee, has $97,000 in student loan debt for the same degree that cost Sarah $62,000. Housing costs in Denver have increased 28% since Sarah moved there. You, as a salary, are witnessing the systematic destruction of middle-class financial stability. Sarah makes strategic decisions based on economic reality rather than ideal life planning. She delays buying a house because saving for a down payment would take 8 years at current salary levels. She delays having children because childcare costs would consume 40% of your value. She continues living with roommates at age 31 because individual housing costs are mathematically impossible. You, as a salary, aren't supporting the lifestyle previous generations associated with professional work. You're supporting survival with a college degree. After 3 years as Sarah's salary, you understand that individual financial discipline can't solve systemic economic problems. Teaching budgeting won't make housing affordable when rental costs increase faster than wages. Encouraging side hustles won't solve the problem that one full-time job no longer provides middle-class stability. But you, as a salary, also learned that Sarah developed skills, resilience, and community connections that can't be measured in dollars. She advocates for salary transparency at work, which helps other employees negotiate better compensation. She votes for politicians who support policies that strengthen worker bargaining power. Some problems require individual adaptation, others require collective action, and wisdom lies in knowing which approach fits which problem. You, as a salary, continue supporting Sarah while she builds a life that looks different from previous generations, but still contains meaning, relationships, and hope for positive change. Now tell me, after hearing this story from the perspective of a salary, what surprised you most about the gap between professional work and financial stability? Hit that like button. If this changed how you think about salary negotiations and workplace benefits, subscribe for more stories that reveal the hidden economics of everyday life, and share this with someone who needs to understand that having a good job does not guarantee financial security in today's economy.